Hello and welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the episode Recap and Thoughts category. This video will be dedicated to the A segment of episode 29 of The Loud House, Baby Steps. We begin this segment with Lincoln being awoken in the middle of the night. It turns out Clyde wants to contact him over the walkie-talkie because he had some news that he was too excited to share with Lincoln after the sun has risen. It turns out that Clyde suspects that he's going to become an older brother very soon. When questioned by Lincoln, Clyde admits that he didn't directly hear, or his dads didn't directly tell him this, but he picked up on some clues that seemed to point in the direction of him becoming an older brother. Examples of this include baby clothes in the washing machine and the dryer, and baby bottles in the dishwasher, and he overhears his dad's talking about another bundle of joy coming to the family. Lincoln is excited for his best friend, and Clyde admits that he is very excited about becoming an older brother, but he's also very nervous too. Lincoln offers Clyde the chance to stop by at the Loud House so that he can observe Lincoln in the role of an older brother to help him out so he knows what to expect once he becomes an older brother. Clyde is grateful to Lincoln for the offer, and he's even excited enough that he wants to head over there right now. And Lincoln has to remind him that it's 1 a.m. and assures him that once they get some sleep and after the sun has risen, they'll be able to proceed with this plan. And that's exactly what happens. Later on, the sun has risen and everyone's wide awake. So Lincoln has a system for being an older brother. He refers to it as the 3 C's: confidence, caring, and cookies. Cookies is apparently the last resort when all else fails. And we then see Lincoln helping out the 5 youngest of the Loud sisters. So it's not in any particular order, but he essentially helps Lucy, Lana, Lola, Lisa, and Lily with some situation that they needed help with. And once we see how Lincoln handles these situations, he has Clyde try it out now, or Clyde gives it a try. But unfortunately for Clyde, it does not go well for him. He starts to feel overwhelmed when the 5 youngest Loud sisters all crowd him, requesting his help with something or overwhelming him to try and get his attention. And as a last resort, Clyde just gives him all the cookies he has and he tries to make a run for it. But then when he runs into Lori, the only one of the 5 oldest Loud sisters to appear in this segment, he ends up unconscious. Later on, Clyde regains consciousness and he admits to Lincoln how things did not go well for him, and he has caring and cookies down pat, but it's the confidence that he's having trouble with. Lincoln just thinks that they need to take a breather for a while and suggests that maybe they go play some video games. But first, Lincoln goes to get some snacks, is what he says. And after Lincoln has left Clyde, 4 of the 5 youngest Loud sisters, Lana is the only one not present, all come to Clyde for help with some situation. Lily is the last of the 4 who want Clyde's help with something, and Clyde feels pretty confident now, and he goes to try and find Lincoln while carrying Lily. He tries to tell Lincoln the news, but when he heads out to the backyard, he sees that it turns out Lincoln, in a well-meaning but misguided attempt to boost Clyde's confidence, bribed the youngest sisters to feign needing help from Clyde. Clyde is not happy about this, and he hands Lily back to Lincoln before he storms off, while Lincoln tries to explain his intentions to Clyde. Right before Clyde leaves the Loud House, though, he sees Lana is in a tree with one of her pets, Bitey. He's either a mouse or a rat. He's a rodent, essentially. And Clyde, at first, he thinks this is just part of the act that Lincoln had arranged with the other younger sisters, but Lana clarifies this is no act. She really is afraid of heights, and Clyde sees that Lana is very sincere about this, and he wastes no time in helping Lana out. He manages to find a ladder, climb up the ladder, and he has Lana ride on his back. She has her arms wrapped around his neck so that she can hold on to him in a secure manner while he climbs down the ladder. Lana thanks Clyde and hugs him as a show of gratitude, and then she goes off to play. And that's when Lincoln shows up, and he tries to apologize to Clyde about the earlier deception. But Clyde has forgiven Lincoln and acknowledges that Lincoln's system of the 3 C's still helped him out, and he feels like he now has the confidence part down pat. So Clyde heads home to let his dads know that he is ready to be an older brother, and Lincoln wishes him all the best. So it's now dinner time at the McBride house, and Harold and Howard are about to tell Clyde the news, but Clyde says he already knows, and he mentions the clues he picked up on earlier. Harold and Howard admit that there's been some confusion because it's not another human that's joining the McBride family, but another pet cat, in fact. Because earlier in this segment, and even in season 1, we saw that the McBride family had a pet cat, Cleopatra. Well, now they have another pet cat, Nefertiti. Yeah, they're doing the cat puns for those 2 pets' names. And Clyde's still excited about having another pet cat, but he assures his dads that if they ever do want to have, as Clyde puts it, another human child, then he's more than happy to, be an older brother. So now the McBride dads are about to have a night on the town, and they want Clyde to watch over both the family cats. And Clyde is confident in his abilities. He adapts the 3 C's system that Lincoln had for the cats, except instead of cookies, it's cat treats. And the mention of cat treats excites the 2 cats, and the segment ends with them jumping Clyde to get the cat treats. Now, this segment stands out because while it's true that season 1 did have some segments where another character besides Lincoln was the viewpoint character, it was still one of the Loud sisters who were the viewpoint characters for those particular segments. In this segment, it's a character who's not part of the Loud family that gets to be the viewpoint character, and of course that was Clyde. And it was a nice touch in this segment how Clyde's thoughts and what we learned about Clyde here kind of tied into things we knew about Clyde earlier in the series. Back in Overnight Success, it was mentioned that Clyde felt lonely as an only child, and that's part of the reason why he enjoyed hanging around the Loud House, besides being friends with Lincoln. So that ties into this here. The fact that Clyde wanted to be an older brother and was quite excited about it was a nice way to connect to that earlier part of season. Yeah, that earlier thing we learned about Clyde in season 1. That was a nice touch, I felt. And it was nice to see that Lincoln wanted to help Clyde out and was very supportive of the fact that Clyde thought he was going to be an older brother. And something else I did like about this segment was while Lincoln bribing his younger sisters to feign needing help from Clyde was not the best choice about helping boost Clyde's confidence, and Clyde's anger was understandable. It was still shown that Lincoln did honestly mean well. He had his heart in the right place, and he was still portrayed sympathetically, I felt. I feel like the show, or the segment, didn't portray Lincoln as the bad guy because of his not ideal choice for trying to help Clyde out. And like I said, I appreciated that it showed that just because someone might make a bad choice doesn't make them a bad person. And it showed that Lincoln did honestly mean well, even if he didn't go about it the right way. And he and Clyde were able to mend fences in the end. And Clyde did admit that Lincoln's earlier advice, back when they first started with the 3Cs, was still very helpful. So I did appreciate that they didn't, they recognized that Lincoln may not have went about helping Clyde's confidence the right way, but they still portrayed him in a sympathetic light and showed that he still had good intentions. And as far as the revelation that it was really just a new family pet that the McBrides were getting, rather than another human being part of the McBride family, it was a subtle way to sort of change up the status quo from before, but at the same time, I think it does leave open the possibility of, maybe Harold and Howard will want to have another kid in the future. So I guess you could say it leaves the door open for that possibility. Oh, while I'm thinking about Harold and Howard wanting another, possibly, or maybe them getting another kid in the future, back when I discussed Overnight Success, I had mentioned at the time I recorded that video, it wasn't clarified if Harold and Howard had adopted Clyde, or if Harold and Howard requested help from a surrogate mother in that regard. But recently, the official Facebook page for the show confirmed that Clyde is indeed adopted. So if anyone was curious about that, they did eventually confirm that. Even if it wasn't the show itself, we still did get official confirmation regarding that part of that little mystery. So that's another mystery that's been solved, and it's nice to learn a little bit more about those details about the other family members besides the Loud family. So overall, I really did enjoy this segment. I thought this was a great start to having segments where characters outside of the Loud family were the viewpoint characters. It tied in nicely to some previous things we learned about regarding certain characters. And like I said, I mean, I think the characters were all weren't portrayed in a bad light. Even if they may not have made the best choices, it was still shown that there were good intentions were meant, even if the methods weren't the best way to go about it. So, and it had some nice heartwarming moments and leaves open the door for possible changes in the status quo in the future. Another good example about how, while Loud House is mostly an episodic series, there still can be some serialized aspects here and there. As to be expected, we'll be discussing the B segment next. Take care, and until next time.